Atlanta has always been a lighthouse of racial and religious tolerance in the South. And we are shocked and amazed that this awful thing could happen in our midst.
William Hartsfield, mayor of Atlanta in 1958, and the leadership of Atlanta were instrumental in promoting a culture that limited the violence and resistance of integration. The Black and Jewish communities were both a target of discrimination throughout the 20th century. Although segregation of communities and schools was still an issue in the city, it did not have the same amount of violence and resistance that the rest of the South was dealing with, until the bombing of the temple.
Since its inception, the temple has striven to promote a culture of inclusion for people of all backgrounds. This culture was formed by Rabbi David Marks in 1900. Marks led the congregation for 51 years, promoting the temple's culture by creating a welcoming home for Atlanta's Jews, as well as leading humanitarian efforts. He started many Jewish charities and worked with Christian clergy to improve the access to free early education. Marx's tenure, however, was in the heat of the civil rights movement, and the way he and the later Rabbi Rothschild responded to the movement would forever mark the temple as a symbol for social justice in Atlanta.
Social justice and being part of the community is it's part of who we are, it's part of our DNA. And each rabbi in each generation has tried to figure out what are the pressing needs of its time.
During the Civil Rights Movement, not only were blacks suppressed, but people of all minority groups faced discrimination. Roughly 40 years before the peak of the Civil Rights Movement, Jewish American Leo Frank had involved himself in the Jewish community of Atlanta and was lynched in 1915 by a group of armed men. The previous mayor had pledged to punish the lynchers, however, no one was charged. This fueled anti-Semitism in the South, which continued throughout the entire Civil Rights Movement. Atlanta's mayor during the Civil Rights Movement was Mayor William Hartsfield. After having seen the violence that was happening in most major southern cities, Mayor Hartsfield sought to prevent Atlanta from experiencing the same violence. The senior rabbi at the temple during the time, Rabbi Jacob Rothschild, also sought to better race relations and strongly believed that he had to use his position to do so.
Tonight, we start with the story of the inspirational Atlanta rabbi who stood shoulder to shoulder with Dr. Martin Luther King to fight for civil rights, and how his congregation paid the price for his courage. The bomb exploded just after 3 a.m. on Sunday, October 12th. Within hours, Atlanta Mayor William Hartsfield was on the scene.
My friends, here you see the end result of bigotry and intolerance. And whether they like it or not, those who practice rabble-rousing and demagoguery are the godfathers of the cross-burners and the dynamiters.
Shortly after 3 a.m. on October 12, 1958, a group of white supremacists called the Confederate Underground placed a bomb made of 50 sticks of dynamite near the temple's north entrance in response to Rabbi Rothschild's relationship with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his support of the civil rights movement. Rothschild did not want to let the bomb defeat the congregation. During the first Shabbat service after the bombing, Rabbi Rothschild said in his sermon entitled, "And none shall make them afraid." This despicable act has made brighter the flame of courage and renewed in splendor the fires of determination and dedication.
Throughout its history, the temple has symbolized justice and tolerance across racial lines. In an environment that allows most Jews to blend in with the majority, the leaders of the temple were guided by a moral compass that was unpopular during the civil rights movement. The temple continues Rabbi Rothschild's vision of social justice by making the temple a temple for everyone. The temple serves as a beacon of social justice in Atlanta.
The temple should be open to everybody, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your physical ability, regardless of your religion. Yerushalayim